In a mythical land of magic beasts and blades known as Burbank, California, an independent podcast network sets off for the greatest adventure of their pitiful lives. This is Dungeons and Dragon Wagon.
Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Dragon Wagon, the Rhyme or Reason, a D&D inspired homebrew role-playing game recorded and released into the world for your entertainment. My name is Jake Lloyd. I am the host of Elaborate, which is a fantastical podcast on the Dragon Wagon Radio podcast network, of which I am a co-founder. You can find me on Twitter at LiquidJake, on Instagram at Jake Lloyd, and I am playing the ever so delightful half-orc fighter named Junk. Say hi, Junk. Hey, how's it going, Jake? Oh, it's not going too bad. I'm actually a little under the weather, so listeners might notice my voice is a little odd. Still getting over a cold. Oh, no shit, really? You know, I actually also am feeling a little bit under the weather. Oh, really? That's such a coincidence. Yeah, we freed this group of prisoners from these cannibals, and this lady, she was very kind. She gave me a little kiss, but she was probably riddled with just diseases, and so I think that I caught something from her. But, you know, I guess that's kind of just how the cookie crumbles. As always, my associates in adventure are here with me. She is a writer, a poet, and a friend to the animals. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at Alexandra Hoy. It's Alexandra Hoy.
Hello. Hi,
How's
Jake.
it going?
It's going wonderfully.
It's going good. I didn't get you sick, did I?
No.
Perfect.
Thankfully.
Praise be to Paul Bianchi, our DM. As always, Alexandra is playing the human ranger named Adeline. Say hi, Adeline.
Hi.
And to her left, he is the man with no foe. He is as tall as his heart is large. You can find him on Instagram at mhingstman and on Twitter at Matt_Hingstman. It's Matt Hingstman.
Hi.
How's it going, bud?
Good.
How are you feeling today?
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
you excited?
I am. I feel I'm getting more and more confident.
Yeah, you're cozy.
Which means in a couple more episodes I'll be at nominal.
right at the time that we're wrapping up this whole.
Yeah.
You're gonna be right in the pocket.
Yep,
It's gonna be sweet. As always, Matt is playing the Shadow Elf Rogue Matson. Say hi, Matson. That is quintessential Matson. And our guest with us this week, our guest in quest, he is a actor, improviser. You can find him on Twitter at McCay Brendan. You can find him on Instagram at bdanmckay. But you can also find a fantastic Instagram account that he is behind, in which he paints and creates fantastic D&D fantasy-inspired art and miniatures called McNerdcraft. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast, Brendan McCay.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Did I get all that right?
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I really enjoy the McNerdcraft.
Thank you.
That seems very like a Zen thing to do.
It is and it isn't. It's been kind of like a completionist thing for me lately, because I bought a bunch of unpainted minis and I'm like, okay, I gotta paint these.
They're naked.
Minis. They're naked. Yeah,
We gotta fix these goddamn minis.
yeah. So trying to bring a world of color.
Oh,
To
how
our
lovely!
game.
Do you have like a favorite?
Probably my Hero Forge miniature of Varen Leodon.
I don't understand why you need to do that voice.
Wood Elf Ranger. No, I did. That's not plugged for Hero Forge. Or yeah, they don't deserve it.
No.
Because they're not giving us anything.
No,
But if
no.
you did,
Nobody's
you
giving
should.
us anything.
If they wanted
It's
to.
part of
if
the
they
problem.
wanted to.
Sure.
But yeah, I made one of those custom minis and painted it up all good, nice and light.
Awesome. Well, they could all see that at McNerdcraft on Instagram, so I urge all listeners to go and check that out. Hey, so right after we recorded this episode, Brendan went and changed the name of McNerdcraft to Wood Elf Workshop. So forget you ever heard the name McNerdcraft and go instead to Wood Elf Workshop on Instagram. This is why we can't have nice things, Brendan. And now, of course, I will hand the reins off to our fearless leader, the creator of these lands, to bring us back into the action. You can follow him on Instagram at the Paul Bianchi. He is co-host of Myth Understood, the Paul Bianchi.
I'm here.
You're here. You did it.
Yeah, I did it. Wow, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really concerned to hear about Matt, your heart condition, where your heart's as large as you are tall.
Yeah, it's
Metaphorical.
Oh, Oh, okay. The yes. I'll just have all of those.
I have what's called
yes.
Grinchism. My heart grew 3 sizes.
Oh God. Well, I'm really excited to get back into the game today with Chapter 3, Hookers and Hijinks. And away we go. Ravens flew to the kingdoms of Silverhammer and Norrance, telling tale of Cragshore's destruction. And while the news was grim, nobles of Silverhammer were filled with hope that a Kelber and his unlikely companions were riding north to broker an alliance with the humans. If the gnomes wanted a war, Silverhammer would need allies to stand against them. After leaving Junk's elderly tired steed in the care of Nora, Junk, Matson, Kelber Orny, Adeline, and her servant Idlewild trekked to the border of King's Promise. It took them 2 days of travel, stopping along the way to gather alchemical ingredients at Orny's request. Now it is night, and you are riding up towards the gate of a small border town called Bogworth. You can only hope that the armed guards will let you pass without any trouble. Matson, I've been meaning to tell you, you look absolutely splendid in that woman's necklace you are wearing.
Oh, does it look that good on me?
It looks fantastic. Yes.
Thank you. I've been meaning to ask you about it, actually.
Oh.
I wondered if you could take a look at it. Tell me if it does anything. Does it hold any kind of properties I should know about?
Of course, yes. I noticed it right away. That necklace you are wearing, that our frenemy Nora was wearing earlier, it seemed to grant her with a certain amount of alertness in which enemies had less of a chance of getting the jump on her.
Interesting. I think I get what you're saying. Good to know. Thank you.
For those playing along at home, you might note that the necklace of the Falconess that Nora granted Matson granted him with a +1 initiative every time he rolls. What was that voice? As you ride up towards the town, you see that there are 2 guards guarding this giant gate. And Bogworth, true to its name, has a large, smoky bog around it that seems unpassable unless you ride through the gate, and these guards seem oafish.
I'll handle this. Adeline rides ahead. Excuse me, sir. Open this gate.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. The gate's not locked, so yeah, we could just sort of open it up for you. But just so you know, this is the border of King's Promise. I am Guardsman Doggett, and if you would like to travel to King's Promise, you're going to need to show papers to the men on the other side of the town.
What kind of papers? Just any papers?
Papers that declare that you are allowed to enter King's Promise. It must be on King's stationery, have his seal, his writ, all of that.
That won't be a problem.
Oh, great. Excellent. Please know that this is a tourist town, and you can come and you can see our beautiful church devoted to the god Amok and our wonderful Bordello, which is actually the entire reason that everyone comes here.
I'm sorry, what's a bordello?
A whorehouse.
Oh, okay.
Don't act like you didn't know.
Of course I didn't know.
Or more colloquially known as Madame Gernvilder's House of Leisure.
Oh.
Anyway, you guys have a nice day.
Thanks. Daggett?
Doggett. I'm Doggett. The man on the other side is Monkwill. Say hello, Monkwill.
Hi. Oh, I like that guy's voice.
Well, thank you very much.
Wow, you're a real chirper guy.
But he's so large, it's interesting.
That's what I like about it. Breaking down stereotypes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you two, but I could go for a drink, and it's been quite a long ride, and I bet you that whorehouse has alcohol inside of it.
I could have bet that you would have suggested that.
As the gate rolls open, Adeline can clearly see, it's nighttime, but it's a very dimly lit town, but she can still make out every building that makes up this very, very small town. To the left, there is a jail and a sheriff's lodge attached to the jail. There's a small trading post. It is closed. There are stables on the left side. There is the very rickety Church of Amok that Doggett specified. On the right side of town, there are some row house apartments. and a large building that can only be assumed is the Bordello. Beyond that is another gate that is very much like the gate that you just entered, guarded by 2 more guardsmen.
And the whole thing is surrounded by like this bog.
Yes, this very smoky wafts away with like a purple smoke bog. You can see it sort of bubble similarly to the hot pots in Yellowstone.
Well, it looks like the Bordello's over here. You guys want to tie up your horses and we'll head on side.
Sounds like a plan.
Sure.
I can tell that everyone's really excited to go to this Bordello. So you hitch your horses over at the stables. There's a sleeping stable manager, but it's a small town and you can do this without much problem at all. And you head over to the right side of town where this, granted this is a fantasy land, so there wasn't such thing as a Victorian age, but this has that classical sort of Victorian veranda, Bordello, Old West house sort of look to it. It's painted green with raspberry trim, flavored raspberry trim. And as you walk towards the front door, it's a double door with some stained glass detailing on the front.
Is there an image in the glass?
There is an image of the glass, and when Adeline looks at it, it makes her blush.
Ah.
Adeline, have you ever been in a place like this before?
I most certainly have not.
I have a confession to make. I've actually been to this very, very Bordello.
Really?
Yes. My friend, brother-in-arms from years ago, Endry, actually works here.
Oh.
And he used to give me discounts.
Well, maybe he can still give us one.
That would be excellent, yes.
Wait, discounts on what?
All the services provided here.
Oh, awesome.
Junk.
What? I'm talking about a drink. I'm thirsty.
Orny reaches up and knocks on the door. After only a brief amount of time, the door is opened by a tanned elven fellow in a revealing leather ensemble. And as his soft blue eyes look upon you, it becomes clear that he recognizes one of you. And that person is Adeline's follower, Idlewild.
Oh, hello. Can I help you?
Fiero.
Idlewild?
Please, come in. Sorry, this is insane to see you like this. Are these your friends?
Yes, but you were taken.
I was, yes. I ended up south of here. Please, come in.
Fiero beckons you all inside and closes the door behind you.
Hey, I didn't know that Idlewild could talk, Eddie. Why didn't you ever tell us?
He's a man of few words.
Fewer than me.
Yes, Idlewild, I sort of am embarrassed to have you see me like this. Adeline, it's been a while as well, too. I doubt you remember me, but when your aunt sold me off to that other family, I ended up traveling south and escaping, and I've been making coin here in Bogworth for the past...
You're a whore.
Yes, I'm a bit of a... Yes.
I can't help but be slightly disappointed.
I know, it's just the only way that I could get by. But, mostly there's a stage over here, too. I'm a bard, and so I perform for the people who come here, and I make coin doing that as well. But,
that's delightful.
That's amazing.
Do you by any chance know the gnome marching song all about their hats?
I don't. I've mostly been up here in King's Promise, so I mostly
okay.
know human songs.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? We know a tune, so maybe we could take stage later.
That could be arranged.
It's a big hit down south.
Actually, let me get around for all of you because this is
Thank you.
This is very, very unusual.
So wait, Adeline, did the gentleman say that your aunt sold him?
Unfortunately, yes. You did hear correctly.
What does he mean by that?
Why don't we sit down and talk about it?
As Adeline says this, you sort of are being led towards a round table in the center of this bordello. The 5 party members sit around this table as Fiero walks over to the bartender, a dwarven woman who's also dressed sort of sultrily, if that's even a word. And she sort of saddles up some drinks for you, and then Fiero walks back over carrying a whole bunch of pints of dwarven ale in his hands, because dwarven ale is the best ale.
Adeline, clearly nervous, grabs one and starts drinking it very quickly.
Whoa, Adeline, slow down there.
It makes it easier to talk about this junk. You see, I come from nobility. My family ruled a great kingdom.
But your family didn't always treat others like humans.
No, they did not.
I used to have to ask for permission to speak, and I'm getting used to doing it on my own accord.
Wait, did you just interrupt the person who's getting used to speaking?
Blowing my mind just listening to the voice that comes out of this gentleman.
Yes, I have one, and I will use it from now on.
Good.
Mark my words, I shall use my voice.
Well, we welcome it.
So, Adeline, I believe you're about to tell us about your slaveholdership?
No. Not my slaveholdership. My family's. They were wicked people, rulers of a free city motivated only by greed, who forced the townspeople, from the eldest to the children, to lay down their lives to protect their damn wealth. I couldn't let that happen, and so I didn't.
Well, this is a lot of information you're throwing at us here.
She saved us. Every last one of us.
I was wondering how you were so good with that bow.
Well, my brother taught me.
Who's your brother?
His name was Charles, although the girls in the town always called him Charles the Charming. He was an excellent marksman and a master of blades. My best friend. He taught me everything I know, but he had to do so in secret, of course, since our parents didn't feel I, a woman, should know how to fight.
He was the bravest warrior I had ever seen.
That's very sweet of you to say. I think so as well.
Too brave.
Yes, too brave. Headstrong, reckless, and it cost him his life.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I appreciate that, Junk.
If you don't mind me asking, what brings all of you here to Bogworth?
We're actually just passing through. We're heading up north to Norrance.
Oh, what for?
We're seeing if we can get the humans' help with what's going on down south. The gnomes are seizing all the cabana stones in Shell's Basin. The cities have been ruined. The people of Shell's Basin need the humans.
So that's what that man was talking about.
Man?
A man?
Yes, and excuse me for saying this, Idwell, but my last client who came through, he was mentioning something that the gnomes were up to, and he actually left a few of his belongings behind. However, I showed them to the Madame Grunwilde, and she stowed them away, I would assume, up in her bedroom.
What kind of things?
It was a knapsack, and I had some papers in there, and it would probably be of note to you, but he sounded like, I mean, he's very upper class man, and he was headed down south. He said something about assisting the gnomes.
Oh.
You didn't get a name by any chance, I assume.
Oh no, his name is Doran.
Doran.
That sounds familiar.
Does it?
What did this man look like?
Terrible with his shirt off. He was very sickly looking, and he had a mustache. He said he was from Manor Rock.
Fiera, may I ask you a question?
Of course, my friend.
Are you still owned? Be straight.
You
hesitate.
Working here in this Bordello for Grunwilde initially was a very nice experience, but she's changed, and now I bear this mark on my arm that means if I ever try to escape, if I ever try to leave, that someone will come for me and find me.
Show me where she is. Surely Adeline will eviscerate her.
She's down in the dungeon.
Here?
Here, yes, the sex dungeon. I mean, here we just call it the dungeon, but I mean, we're in the
sex bathroom.
We're in the
sex bedroom.
Everything's
the sex closet.
Everything has that applied to it. Yes, but recently though, she sold me off to the Animage Solcian, and he'll be coming to collect me tomorrow morning.
We'll cut off your arm.
No, please. I need my arm.
Adeline, you must be able to do something for him.
We will. We must.
I'm feeling emotions for the first time in a very long time, and this emotion is rage.
I was going to say, you know what, Idlewild, for the first time this whole trip, you're glowing.
Yeah. Should we go talk to Grunwilde?
Sure.
Oh, well, I should mention, if you're going to go down to the sex dungeon, the rule of Bordello is you must be dressed appropriately.
What does appropriately mean?
My friend Tornus, he has the gear in his room. Unless you're just going to go down there and kill her. In which case, it doesn't matter how the fuck you're dressed.
May I go as the Lord provided me to this earth?
Oh, yes. Actually, that nude is wonderful and something that I might actually enjoy.
Idlewild just takes his clothes off and is sexy as hell.
Hey, Orny, his eyes are up there, right, buddy?
Well, what? Sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, I just sort of knew that today would be the best day ever. So Firo leads you cautiously towards the right side of the hall, sort of past the bar, going through a beaded curtain. As you head down this hallway, you can see that there are 6 bedrooms on your left side, and this joint is jumping. There's things happening on the inside of those rooms, the likes that likely none of you have heard before. Like, maybe Orny has heard these things before, but there is at least something new happening behind each of these doors. As you proceed to the last room, which sort of faces a downward stairwell on the right-hand side, Firo knocks on the door of Tornus's room. Tornus, you busy? It is clear to you from the sounds of what's happening on the inside of the room that Tornus is busy. It seems that Tornus is busy, but I'm just going to go in and carefully grab some things, just sort of sizing you up. So Firo opens the door, and as the door creaks open, you just sort of see that a human man who's in very good shape is sort of suspended upside down as like 2 gnome women are like tickling him with like wands from underneath. And he doesn't seem to notice at all as Firo walks over and grabs this box of leathery things and walks back out to you guys and then closes the door. Sorry about that. And then starts handing you just random gear. You know, we just have to make you look passable, right? So let's see here. Here, you wear this. I think this corset's large enough for you, Junk.
Oh, sweet, thank you.
Please disregard the attachment to this, Lady Adeline. And Mr. Motson, this is sort of like a helmety. Dare I say, it really brings out your shoulders and your butt.
Great.
Oh man, if the captain of the Providence could see you now, Matson.
And I take a look at it, and I look at the drink in my hand, and I down the rest of what's in the glass all at once.
All right, well...
Actually, may I please have something as well? I've decided that the buff is not the best choice to conceal my weapons.
You know, I have just the thing for you. Firo bends down and pulls out what looks to be a bracelet, but he does not put it around his wrist.
While he does this, Idlewild just like bites his knuckle.
So I'm clearly a lover, not a fighter. I'll be waiting here for you guys. She does not want to see me downstairs. Thank you so much for confronting her.
Well, we look ridiculous.
I don't know. I think we look kind of great.
What is this?
Meet me.
If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you.
Hey, Fierro.
Yes.
Hey, just before we go, I know you're watching all of our stuff. I just want to tell you that if anything happens to this pube comb, it will be the end of you.
Noted. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
As Matson leads the party down the stairs, it's very dimly lit by torchlight downstairs. It's very much styled like a standard dungeon. However, there are additional pieces to it that point towards it being used for other things. There's a leather circular sofa in the center of the room, a few bidets for cleanup against the back wall, but mainly the downstairs area seems to be sort of a waiting area for hedonistic hijinks that occur further into the dungeon beyond another beaded curtain.
And there's nobody else down there right now.
There's nobody else down there right now.
Before the beaded door.
Mm-hmm.
While we step down these steps and everything like that, Idlewild just kind of goes to everyone and is just like, I have to confess, I'm in love with that man.
I sensed a spark. We will make him free. And then you can be together.
Yes, and whatever makes you happy. He looks a little used up for my taste, but so am I.
All right, so Junk just walks up to the next beaded door and just sort of like crashes his hand through it in that sort of way that you have to walk through a beaded door like you're being attacked.
Roll for your clumsy check first.
Natural 20.
All right. So you sort of just like glide through the room, like all the beads, like it's almost like you parted them like the sea around you. I mean, they still make a noise, but it looks very nice. Like you've walked through beaded curtains before.
I turned to Adeline. I'm like, did you see that?
I did. Wow.
Now give me a perception check to see what you see in this room.
14.
To your left in this room, there are 2 cages. In these cages, there are 2 men dressed fully in bondage gear. They have masks over their head. They are very
pale, slender men, but clearly with like musculature to them that looks like they could do some damage in a fight. But they are absolutely still. To your right in the room, there is a gnome tied up to a machine that is in use on him. I am not going to go into too much detail. You can use your pervy imaginations. In the right-hand corner of the room, there is what clearly looks like it must be Grunvilda's office. And straight ahead, there is a torture wheel, like someone would get strapped into it and have terrible fun. Then, an elderly human madam in a tight-fitting, corseted leather dress emerges from her small corner office. Too much makeup on her face. What are you doing? Did you come for the sex?
What? Oh, yeah. I mean, no. I mean, well, maybe. Listen, I'm not sure. Hey, guys, could you help me out here?
Oh, there's more of you. I was hoping it would be just one. Look at you. I've never seen a specimen like you before.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's very dark in here, but is your skin green?
Yeah, I have green skin, yeah.
What an eclectic group. She sort of sees you guys now through the curtains. A shadow elf, a human, an immaculate-looking elf specimen, and a little thing. What brings you here? I just here to gawk.
You are Grunvilda, yes?
Yes, that's me.
Oh, may I say. You have a very lovely place here.
Don't be polite. This place is a hellhole.
Well, it's a very lovely hellhole. Anyway, these are my name is Matson. These are my compatriots. I'm looking for a friend. He might have come in through this way. His name is Doran.
A lot of people come through this way.
I bet they do. I'm looking for a very specific man. Thin and maybe looking sickly.
Again, you're talking about my root clientele here. Listen.
He might have left some items here. We're here to retrieve them for him.
Oh, yes. He's particularly fond of that elf up there, Fiero. Yes, he left some things behind, and I have been holding them for him, but... This is the most unusual thing that's ever happened down here. Usually when people come downstairs to the sex dungeon, dressed as you are, they want something else aside from this role play that you're doing.
During all of this, everything she's been saying, Idlewild's just been kind of like clenching his fists and just kind of like making like Tuco Salamanca's like uncle's like scowl.
And while he's doing that, Junk has walked over to the gnome on the machine and is just sort of like really closely examining things and like flicking with his finger like little like levers and just sort of like really just baffled by the entire thing.
You asked if we were here for sex, but no, we've come to fuck you.
Idlewild.
I pull out both my crossbows and I fucking shoot her.
All right, well let's roll for a dexterity check to see if you actually hit her.
That is a 6.
Idlewild pulls out 2 beautiful ancient elven crossbows, and they are loaded, and he shoots 2 bolts. The first one gets her in her right shoulder, and the second one gets her in her left shoulder, so it causes her to do a very violent shimmy. She lets out a wail. She goes, "Ah!" And she backs against the wall and hits a button on the wall that releases the 2 boys in her cages.
My bad.
Where were those crossbows when we were fighting the cannibals, Idlewild?
I was still confused about my role. I'm sorry.
Everyone needs to roll for initiative.
18.
15.
9.
4.
So Grunvilda cowers and like falls to the ground, but Idlewild is still ready. He very quickly reloads, and he is ready for whatever action he would like to do against Grotto and Hedon, who now stand up, both holding clubs. Use your imagination of what they might look like.
Idlewild looks over to her again as she's cowering. He says, "How much did you sell him for?" And then he shoots at one of these guys and does his special attack, Chain Bolt, which is basically he shoots with his crossbow and it's attached to a chain and it rips him over to me, kind of like a scorpion from
yeah.
Mortal Kombat, like, get over here. 9.
So it's going to hit.
That's 2 damage, baby.
So Idlewild does his special attack. It fires a bolt right into like Grotto's side, but it brings Grotto
right in between Idlewild and the rest of the party. So now it is Junk's turn. And Junk, you're still next to the gnome on the device.
Oh, so I'm sort of behind everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so Junk touches his shoulder wound that he's still healing from the battle with the cannibals, and realizing that he's not quite at full strength, and instead of just full-on like melee attacking or trying to clothesline like he enjoys doing, I turn back to the guy getting what I'm assuming is reamed by a medieval dildo machine, and I want to sort of reach for the most weapon-like part of the machine in attempts to break it off to create some sort of small melee weapon.
You know what
even
that
if
is.
that comes from taking the phallic device straight out of the gnome, and in attempts to use that as a weapon.
All right, so give me a strength check.
That's an 8 plus 2 is my modifier.
So you are indeed strong enough to break this mechanism. It is only meant to fondle smaller humanoids. And however, your ability to grab a select piece of it isn't as good as you wanted it to be. And so it sort of just breaks the whole top off, including the gnome that is attached to it. And you hear sort of a as you sort of wield now this gnome who is also attached to this penetrating device. But that is indeed your turn.
Sorry, little buddy.
Why is my life this? Hedon now is closest to the people who have just entered the room.
And Hedon is not the one who Idlewild pulled close to
No,
him.
yeah, Hedon's the other son. And Hedon brings his club right down on Orny, right to begin this fight. And he smacks Orny for a full-on 4 damage and knocks Orny straight to the ground.
Oh no.
Oh, you're going to pay for that. Once I get to hit you with this gnome sex machine, you are going to pay for that.
From what I've gathered of him, he probably liked it.
So yeah, it's Matson's turn next.
I want to run over to Idlewild and just steal 2 bolts out of his quiver, and 1 for each hand, and try to replace my daggers.
All right, so give me just a stealth check for that. Like, you're going to be successful, but I just want to see if he notices you do it.
Okay. 1.
Oh, boy. So you end up grabbing them, but you also put your hand, in his butt. You just sort of because it's sort of like a bandolier dangling off of his hip, and you sort of stumble and just catch yourself by giving him a full-on a full bean dip or
There's no time for that, Matson.
but now you are equipped with 2 of his bolts. It's now time for Grotto to attack, and Grotto is standing right next to Idlewild, so he's going to attempt to hit him with his club. As Grotto swings to attack at Idlewild, Idlewild ducks his assault, and Grotto swings, hitting his club against the wall. He turns back to face Idlewild and...
I spit on his face.
for no damage except to pride. Also, he's wearing this sort of mask thing, so he's completely fine. Grunvilda uses her turn only to sort of crawl to her feet and is just sort of moaning and saying, "Boys, end them, end them." And she just sort of crawls towards her office, but doesn't even get there yet. It's Orny's turn, but he got hit with a critical hit, and so he's just sort of stumbling up to his feet, doesn't know which direction is which. He's reaching around for his bandolier, and who knows what he's going to grab on his next turn. It is now Adeline's turn to decide to do whatever she wants to do.
So Adeline walks back toward one of the hanging beads and breaks it off, a string of them, and then quickly heads back over to Hedon and uses it from behind to garrote him.
So just roll a d20 for a success rate on this.
9?
So you do indeed get the string of beads around his neck, and as you are strangling him, you're getting a little bit of a sense that he enjoys it. But it's encumbering him enough to whoever's striking next will have a good shot at him. Idlewild's turn to get back into the fray.
I turn around and I shoot at Grunvelda with my chain bolt, and I do the whole scorpion, get over here thing. And I bring her up Or I try to. Here, let's attempt to see if it hits.
Yeah.
Natty twins!
Oh.
Natty 20 is what that meant.
Okay. With your natural 20, you fire off your chain bolt and you bring her back close to you. And whatever happens from here happens exactly how you intended it because your natural 20 just destroys.
I bring her close to me and I just wrap the chain around her neck, and she's just like in her like last moments, and I say, "How much did you sell Fiero for?"
Gernvilda gurgles with sort of the blood that's in her throat, and her response is,
"It's not about the money. The price was paid in blood."
"And your price will be paid in blood as well." And I just like choke her out and just kind of punch her a few times.
That was sick.
Until my hands are bloody.
yeah, just like all of her teeth just sort of fall out like as you're punching her in the face repeatedly.
I'm violent.
I like it.
So yeah, now it's Junk's turn.
Okay, guys, when this is all over, you're going to have to explain to me what the hell just happened here.
And I take my machine with gnome on it, and I sort of like try to hold the gnome's like head and sort of use the bottom half of this machine to just bash Grotto over the head. Critical fail.
Oh no.
So
Do I need to roll my regular unarmed attack, or does it not matter?
So as you're about to swing the gnome device at Grotto, your thumb sort of slips into the mouth of this poor gnome, and the gnome's reaction is to bite your thumb as hard as he can.
Damn it!
And you sort of swing your arm around like when you
Gross.
and the gnome flies up into the air and then lands. It's sort of a dirt floor of this dungeon, and so he lands just sort of like sticking up into the ground.
Oh, man, it's bad enough I got that cold from that prisoner woman. Who knows what I'm going to get from this?
And I'm like shaking the spit off of my thumb, really grossed out.
It's Hedon's time to attack. Hedon, of course, has the beads around his throat, and Hedon is going to attempt to elbow himself off of Adeline. Adeline, roll a d20 for defense for me.
13.
And Hedon is unable to free himself from your restraint. He swings these back elbows at Adeline, and Adeline evades from left to right like a expert hula dancer.
Stop moving, worm.
Now it is Matten's turn.
I'm gonna run over to Hedon and attack.
All right.
With my bolts. 11. 3 and 3.
Sweet.
So Matten's able to go over. He has the two bolts in his hands, and he just plows both of them right into Hedon's chest, digs right through his leathery bondage gear, and he's down for the count. He is wheezing. Air is coming out of his wounds. Even though he hasn't said anything up to this point, his response is sort of a as he goes down to the ground. As this happens, Grotto pulls the lace out from the mouth of his hood and says, "Hedon!" and then goes over and kneels beside his brother. The fight at this point is somewhat over because after the loss of both his mother and his brother, Grotto is sort of in a place where he's willing to at least emotionally give up. He might fight you moments later, but right now you can either finish him off or just let him have his grief on the floor.
Well, did that go how you planned, Idlewild?
No.
What?
No, it did not.
All right, so exactly what did we just achieve here?
Revenge. Ever heard of it?
Yes.
Ever since I realized that Fiero was a slave here, I could not feel anything but white-hot rage. Even now, as I have destroyed the root of that rage, nothing has changed. I think we should put this one out of his misery. He's been locked up here for too long. I know what being a slave is like.
Just to be clear, are we talking about the gnome that is sticking up out of the ground right now, or are we talking about the grieving young man over here?
Excuse me, gnome. How do you feel right now?
I'm in pain.
Well, you shouldn't have put that inside of you, huh?
I didn't do it voluntarily. No, hold on, I recognize that voice. Wait, I'm gonna go handle this gnome over here. Someone decide what to do with this other person right now.
I know what life is like when you've lost something that you love. So he cocks his crossbow and shoots him in the eye.
At point blank range, the bolt just sort of shoots right through his head.
Boy,
to the other side.
We have learned a lot about Idlewild today.
I tried telling you guys.
I don't remember you telling us anything.
I forgot he was there half the time.
So did I.
As this is happening, Orny is assisting the other gnome, helping him out of his predicament. He takes the hood off of this gnome, and he's like,
Oh, it's my friend Endry. I was telling you about this. Endry, it's been so long.
Endry, there's no telling how long Endry has been locked up to this device in the corner of this room in the dungeon. You see the recognition of Orny on his face, and then he just sort of crawls over to the corner and like rocks.
Oh, he'll be fine. Classic Endry.
Boy.
Should we check out this office?
Yes,
I mean, we've had
absolutely.
enough orifices.
Yeah, let's
go.
do that.
I'll walk into the office.
I follow.
All right, give me a perception.
13.
Inside Gernvilda's office, it's a whole bunch of paperwork everywhere, but standing out to you in the corner of the room, a pile of blank King's stationery. And this is recognizable because it has the big seal of Norrance on the top of it, and it's something that you've seen before, just even living in Shell's Landing. Like, you're like, oh, wow, this is fancy King stationery.
Right.
There's one of those seal makers in the corner and like some wax, everything that you need to forge your own document to show to the guard.
I grab the stationery and hold it up to Junk and Adeline. You guys thinking what I'm thinking?
We can make paper flying machines.
No.
We're gonna forge our papers.
Oh,
Junk.
right. The papers. Sorry.
Who has the best handwriting?
Oh, I do.
Wait, can't you have trouble reading, don't you, Junk?
I mean, I guess if that's like part of handwriting, then yeah.
Oh, all right.
I can make a turkey though.
Well, let's
You just put your hand out like this. and then you
stop.
trace.
You're wasting the King's stationery.
And it's turkey.
Don't do that.
Sorry.
How about this? We'll take some upstairs and we'll work on this. But isn't there the other matter of the Doran's belongings that we were looking for as well?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm after having to wield a gnome on a sex device, I'm really sort of don't like not having my warhammer close by. I'd really like to head upstairs and get our stuff back.
I guess I'll search Grenvilda's body for keys or something.
Yeah. So she's on the ground, and you find around her neck her set of keys. They're very sweaty. They're lodged between her breasts.
Oh.
They're yours if you want to grab them.
I'll reach in there and grab them. And as I'm doing it, I'm also wiping off the butthole stuff that was in my hand when I went for Idlewild's butthole juice when I got his bolts.
I did not have a chance to use the bidet before you did that.
That's what the bidets are for.
I understand what they're for, but I was not expecting that.
Oh wait, you mean those fancy water fountains?
Oh, they're not a water.
Oh,
You
Junk.
didn't.
Oh, wait,
drink-
they're not-
You
I-
didn't drink out of it, Junk.
I saw the water come out. I thought it was a
John.
water fountain.
Oh no.
All right. Well, let's go.
Let's go to the bedroom.
Yeah. Without further ado, the party heads upstairs. You find Fiero back in sort of the main area with all of your belongings laid out and folded nicely on one of the round tables, and he's waiting for you. I heard a bit of a commotion.
Just me naked, covered in blood. Idlewild walks past. He's just like casually walking past Fiero. He says, "Well, that's one loose end."
I'm assuming that isn't fruit punch.
No.
I guess she's dead. But did you see Endry while you were down there?
Yes, the
Oh.
little gnome.
Yes. All right. Well, good. At least my friends here will have someone to look after them. Before he disappeared, he was just the heart and soul of this place.
Great.
But yes, if you want to get changed,
Yes.
then we can go upstairs and try to collect those belongings.
Hey, do you mind if I keep this corset?
No, not at all. No skin off my back.
Oh, awesome! Thanks. I don't know. I kind of like the way it made me really confident.
It's very slimming. Yes.
Yeah. Plus, I've always said if a cut of cloth can keep you confident, then you can always count on it. And I'm kind of cute in this corset.
Right. Would you like me to lead you to Gunvilda's bedroom?
Please. Yes.
Fiero starts leading you down the left side of the hallway, and again, just like the right side of the hallway, there are bedrooms only this time on the right side of the hall. And there's a staircase leading up on the left side of the hall.
Well, you haven't told me directly, but I'm assuming she's dead, so I'll just go up here without fear of her whipping me.
Yeah, she's dead.
Oh, thank you.
Super dead.
Very dead.
I grab his hand and I say, I choked her to death in your honor.
Oh, you've certainly changed.
The rage that I felt after I saw what she had done to you made me do it. Sorry.
That's perfectly fine, I suppose. Here, come upstairs.
So Fiero leads you upstairs into a dimly lit space.
And I want to roll for perception.
Yeah.
7.
So this room is very well lit by candlelight. There is a large bed covered in pink satin. At the foot of the bed, there is a chest, and above the bed, there is a large ornamental pike just sort of decorating the wall.
Hey, look at that large ornamental pike decorating that wall. I want to grab it.
So no one stops Adeline as she, I would assume, runs over to the bed, jumps onto the pink satin sheets, and then pulls this ornamental heavy pike off the wall and says,
Ooh, pointy.
Jeez, Adeline.
Excuse me. You're not the only one who can take things.
Okay.
But I'm going to need you to carry this, though. She hands it off. And then she opens the chest.
I just sort of like shrug my shoulders and throw it in my pack of all the other ridiculous crap that I've collected over our journeys. So now I have a pike.
Yeah.
This pike is a pretty good pike. It does some damage. So keep that in mind.
Okay, now that we have that. Oh, there's a chest over here at the end of the bed. I'm going to try and open it.
It is locked.
Oh, wow.
I take my keys out and I try one.
There were 2 keys on it, but you try with the first key, and the additional breast sweat allows the key just to like slip in,
Slide
like
right
it was
in.
made for it, and you
Breasty
unlock the
key.
chest.
Open up the lid and I look inside.
Inside there is a leather satchel. Fiero's there with you, and he said, "Oh, yeah, that's Doran's satchel right there."
Oh, and I open it up and take a peek.
Inside there is a letter and a very dense manuscript.
So I go to Cubber Orny and I say, hey, why don't you read this for us?
Oh, of course. I will read the letter first, and perhaps I'll pretend that I'm him as I read it. Your Excellency, Commander Menshal, it is with great honor that I accept your invitation to join you in Filgarth. My stratagems and abilities were never appropriately recognized by the ungrateful snakes in Norrens. You and your queen are wise to collect the Kalbana stones. The Shadow Elves are on the cusp of victory, and it's only a matter of time before they invade Shell's Basin. The combined power of the stones is the only logical way to keep them at bay. I hope this letter finds you and no one else. It's certainly incriminating. Yours now and forever, Doran Pentagrath, Duke Regent of Manor Rock.
Menshal, that was the name on the letter found by those betraying doors in Shell's Basin. So he's in Filgarth. Where's that?
Why, it's deep within Brayfrost, the gnome capital city. The gnomes must believe the Shadow Elves to be a considerable threat if they're summoning outside aid in the form of Duke Regent Pentagrath.
I can't say I'm privy to the Shadow Elves' plans, but they're definitely right to fear them.
The other thing in this satchel does not appear to be particularly important, but it is hilarious.
What is that?
It is a erotic play that he is in the middle of working on.
Is it any good?
No. It is called
Sir Tom Tim's Tallywhacker.
Yeah, I feel like we should probably perform what he's got written at some point.
Well, yes, I mean it's here if you would like to, but
There
we
is
don't
that
have to.
there is that stage too. We could probably put this whole thing on, get some nice costuming involved.
We might be able to, yes.
I'm going to need a lot more alcohol.
Has anyone checked this dresser?
No.
So Idlewild walks over to the nightstand. Inside, he finds some personal intimate belongings for Gurnvilda, and beneath that, there is a personal thank you note from the Animage Solcian. It is also eloquently written. What Idlewild makes of it is that the Animage Solcian bought Fiero in such a way that the mark that's on Fiero's arm is now bound to Solcian, so that Solcian always knows where Fiero is.
Idlewild shares all of that information with everybody about the binding between Solcian and Fiero, and then he looks up from the letter and he says, "We have to kill him."
Orny, is there any sort of alchemical potion you could use to get rid of this blood magic on his arm?
You mean alchemical potion?
Yes, whatever.
No, there's not.
Oh.
Not that I know of.
The way I see it, as far away as he can be, the harder it will be for Solcian to get to him. So I say he just come with us.
I have a friend in Misty Cross.
I don't love the idea of someone always knowing where we are.
Here's the thing is, you guys have never met Solcian. He's an incredibly powerful animage. The best thing for me to do is run. I would much prefer having you guys there with me.
We'll be there.
Well, we should probably get a move on.
Yes.
But not before heading downstairs, taking that stage, and putting on this play.
Are you being sarcastic?
Not at all.
Okay.
So, alcohol?
And I think that's a good enough spot to end this episode. If you want to hear our reading of this erotic play, go to dndwpod.com and we'll post it there.
So, for killing Gernvilda and her 2 terrible sons and liberating a whorehouse, you guys walk away with 150 experience points, and I know you guys are so close to leveling
so
up, you can
close.
taste it.
150. That puts us at math. That puts us at 985. We're 15 points
Wow.
shy.
So close.
Well, that was a very super sexy episode, you guys. There was some uncomfort for some people, and there was some delight for some others. There was also a cock ring. Let's just not talk about that ever.
It's canon that Idlewild has not put his clothes back on yet.
True. It is very bizarre that all of a sudden Idlewild is just this very boisterous personality.
I love it.
And yeah, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, by the way, Brendan, for joining us.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
I
Thanks for having me.
hope you had a great time. You are going to stick around, and we will hear from more from Idlewild the next episode. And we'll figure out how to get out of this pickle that we're in. Right, the pod dog, Campfire Jones, is currently attacking Matthew right now. Oh, the pod dog. Hashtag Campfire Jones if everyone wants to see the pod dog on the internet. Anyways, okay, so we hope you enjoyed this outing as much as we enjoyed playing it. For more information, maps and character art and profiles and all sorts of great stuff, please visit dndwpod.com. On that website, you can click the contact in the corner. You can write us an email. You could tell us what you think that we did terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. Or you can tell us what you like, tell us your ideas. You could just write to say hi and tell Matt how sexy he is, whatever you want. Also, be sure to follow at DNDWpod on all social media and use hashtag D&DW when you're talking about this and sharing it with friends, which is a thing that you should do. Also, super important to a show like ours. There are, as you know, a lot of D&D related podcasts out there. We really appreciate that you are listening to ours. A great way that you can help us out is by ensuring you are leaving ratings and reviews on iTunes and wherever you're listening to this. Specifically on iTunes, though, rating and reviews are the absolute best way for the show to find organic listeners, simply just by searching something as simple as Dungeons and Dragons. That would really go a very long way. And with that said, Dragon Wagon Radio is a completely independent podcast network. If you are enjoying this show or any shows on the network, I really urge you to consider showing your support. You can do so a variety of ways. Just check out dragonwagonradio.com/support and you can see your options. Once again, my name is Jake Lloyd. Thank you so much for listening. Paul, say goodbye to the people.
So long.
Matthew, say goodbye to the people.
Bye.
Alexandra, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.
Brendan.
Get over here. Bye.
And on behalf of everybody here, we will see you next quests.
It's Dragon Wagon.
Inside, he finds some personal, intimate belongings for Gernvilda, and beneath.
Just say dildo. We know that you've been like pussyfooting around it all night.
I like to use discretion.
But I also like to write 1,000 dildos into my campaign.
And